Today, I'll discuss some of the ways in which software-defined radios are kind of flaky. And what I have here, I've got SdrGlut, and it's simultaneously running 4 different SDR hardware devices. And I have a Space Net SDR Plus, a Hacker RF1, a SDR Play RSP Dual, and just a generic OEM stick. And the starting window here shows some of the problems. The NetSDR, anything on the FM band, and that's one of its little quirks. You've got to bounce it around a little bit before it starts receiving. And if you look at the RF1 screen over here, it's got a hump at 99.5 megahertz. Well, if I look on the RSP Dual, there's no hump there. And if I look on the generic stick, there's no hump there. And now, if we go over here and look at the RSD Play Dual, it's got a hump just beyond 100 megahertz, and neither of the other two devices show any such hump. And so, you know, that's kind of strange that some of them see some frequencies and some of them don't see other frequencies. And then here, out beyond the edge, there's a hump on both of the Hacker RF and the generic stick. The Play Dual doesn't show a hump there. And so there's some real inconsistency here. If you look down that window, you see that the RSP Dual has been getting many errors. And this is the program asks for a block of data, and it flags the block of data as bad. And so you can see here that the SDR Dual is the only one, they're all hooked up the same, is the only one that's actually flagging bad blocks. And it's flagging blocks every, it's kind of random, but you can see here at block 4910 was the last time it happened. And so, okay, so reset things by setting the frequency. We'll set the frequency high, and we'll set the frequency low, and we'll set the frequency high, and set the frequency low, and set the frequency low, high and low, and high and low. And you can see now the NetSD is getting something on the FM band. For some reason the FM band has gone out. It works pretty well everywhere else. And so the FM band on my NetSDR Plus has sort of died, as you can see. And what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at how often this is one of the things that all the software radio players for software-defined radio is hiding from you. These software-defined radios are dropping. Well, they're not dropping frames. They're receiving frames. The frames are 100 times lower than the adjacent blocks. And so, in order to keep the displays from looking really horrible, you have blocks every so often. And so let's go over here and look at the Hacker RF1, and I'll turn on the debug for drop blocks. And so since I did the reset, it's dropped 124 blocks, 131, 135. So you can see here it's dropping blocks fairly often, every 10 to 20 buffers or something like that. And we'll turn off the block drop on that. Now we'll go to the generic one and see how it's doing on drop block. And you can see here it's dropped 174 blocks since I did the reset, and it's it's dropping blocks somewhat faster than the Hacker RF1, but it's still dropping them fairly often. There's 20 between drops, 15, 5 between drops. So it's dropping these blocks that are 100 times lower in amplitude than the adjacent blocks. And so that's clearly some sort of error. Now let's go over here to the RSP Play Dual and see how he's doing. And let's see, print on. Okay, so here he's dropped 260, and he's dropping them. Well, now see here, it's funny, he hasn't dropped any in quite a while, and so but he's dropped 271, and it's kind of random on the RSP dual. There he actually errored on a block, and there he drop out, and so he at the moment isn't dropping blocks terribly fast, but he's still dropping them, and he's dropped 302 blocks since the beginning of this, and so now we'll go to the NetRSD and turn on the drop flag. And turns out he doesn't drop blocks. He okay, so the NetSDR Plus is the only one that doesn't make it a habit of dropping blocks. So we've been sitting here for several. SDR play is generating errors again on the reading bad blocks, but these dropout blocks are okay. So the RF space just if I change frequencies, it'll drop a few blocks, but other than that, it's the only one of these that's dead solid in not. And so I show people some of the things that are being hidden from you by the programs that are running these hardware devices. They're hiding the drop blocks from you, and other things. Like here, if you don't look at two devices at the same time, some of them they're receiving different frequencies at different times at the same place. And so that's it for today.